As-Salamu Alaikum. As-Salamu Alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be unto you. Welcome everyone to Islamic Learning with Master As-Sabur. I am your host, now official host, Adrian Jasper, and I'm here with Nailah and Zarinah, and we are going to discuss Quran Expressions by Muslim Women, episode 6 within this series, and share some verses in the Quran, some parables in the Quran, and we're going to each talk about how we personally relate to them. We're not taking any scholarly views, or we're just taking our own personal interaction, our own personal expressions from God's words in our holy book, the Quran, and how they personally relate to our own lives, because we're all different, our paths are different, our experiences are different, so we can read the same verse and all, see it from a different angle, or experience it different, or, express it different. So that's what we're here to do today. So, and Masjid As-Sabur, which we are all part of, the community that we're all a part of, is located at 4926 15th Avenue off of Stockton Boulevard. We have a brand new, beautiful building. And our website is www.masjidassabur.org. And we have Friday prayer services every Friday at 1:30 p.m. Everyone's welcome. Come and listen, learn. And so, again, Imam Hazm, our traditional host, he has officially decided that he would like to not be host anymore. He's been doing this for 6 years, and so he's decided that he wants to take a break, for in perpetuity. So we're gonna he's, as a program coordinator, he's designated me to be the host. So, like I said last episode, I'm not going to do this alone. There's lots of people in the community that I can call on right here. And others that, to address different topics and subjects as time goes on. So this is going to be a shared show.
Shared effort.
This is our show, a community effort. That's what it is. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Let's just start expressing again. Okay. And let's look at parable chapter 2, verse 261. So this parable reads, "The parable of those who spend their substance in the way of God is that of a grain of corn. It groweth 7 ears, and each ear hath 100 grains. God giveth manifold increase to whom he pleaseth, and God careth for all, and he knoweth all things."
Okay. For me, when I read that, it's a reminder that when we spend money, our resources, our time, whatever we spend, when we invest our resources into things that are geared towards advancing Allah's cause, taking care of his creation, supporting, feeding the homeless, and whatever, giving charity to someone who is having a bad time or struggling, whatever we are, whatever we're spending, time, money, resources of any kind, that we're not losing it. When I think of it, I think about it's not gone, it's invested, and that it's invested in such a way that it's going to multiply, and it's going to multiply like no other investment would. It's going to be better than the Dow Jones, the stock market, and it's not going to depreciate at all. It's only going to get bigger and bigger, and that that everything, the last part of that is that, and God careth for all, and he knoweth all things. And so I kind of see that as, we are representatives of God on earth. And so he cares for everything. He's responsible for everything, and he owns everything. Like even our own, what we think is ours, he owns it. And so if we keep that in mind and we spend his money, his time, because he's given us the time we have here, on earth. So if we spend his time, his money, if for me, if I think of it like that, over the years, it's helped me to move from, having a really tight purse, and I never really considered myself stingy, but just more frugal, worried, that I wouldn't have enough all the time, or wouldn't be able to, So anyways, what it's taught me is that frugal in the way of God is not going to benefit me. Frugal can be a beneficial thing, but if it's if I'm spending in the way of God's, or if I'm investing my time or energy into something that Allah is going to be pleased with, then I'm only going to get more benefit. It's just going to multiply beyond my imagination. So that's what it reminds me of when I read that.
Yeah. And you said spending God's money, so that's a good reminder when if you're out in the in the mall and you say, and you're looking at something and say, okay, this is God's money. Do I really need another pair of that?
Right.
Would God want me to have nothing?
Right.
Which would really, because sometimes, you just want something. You don't need it.
Absolutely.
But you just want it. And if you think consciously like that, I like that. I need to start using that when I'm out, and I see a pair of shoes, like, do I really need to spend this on that? God bless me to have this money, this $20 or $50, $100, He blessed me to have this extra money. Do I really need to spend it this way? So I like that. So
check ourselves.
I need to,
What I get from it is that, we can't ever give too much, we just, and Allah is letting us know that, if we do give of his money and his time, that he will just give us more of his money and more of time, because if he gives us more money, that can enable us to have more time, because we may not have to work, we can maybe do more of the things that we want to do with that time, and and he says he giveth manifold increase to whom he pleases. And so again, we also have to remember that, I may be giving and giving and giving, and you may be giving and giving and giving, and then he gives it to her. And she's giving, but we may feel like we're giving more than she's giving or something like that, but he says, no, I give to whom I please. And so just because I didn't give it to you doesn't mean you don't have something coming, and it may not be in this life, and that's the other thing I think about, is that, he also lets us know that you might not get it all here, and part of our belief is that if we do the right thing here, we're going to get a whole lot more there, and so it may not all be here. And there was like a hadith that this person wasn't getting what he was giving, and but he didn't get some of the things he wanted, and when he was in the world, and then when he got to paradise and he saw all these mountains of treasures and things, and he was like, who was that for, and God told him, it's for you. And he was like, and that's, kind of like, when I didn't give you that, I had this waiting for you. And he was like, wow, basically, I wish I hadn't gotten nothing, and all of it could have been waiting for me. Yeah, so we just have to remember that, we're, Allah says he cares for all and he knoweth all things, and so we just have to always know that we can never give enough, we can never give too much, and we will always benefit, if not in this life, but in the next.
And then sometimes it might not be something physical that it could be that he prevented something bad from happening to you.
Right.
So you could be driving down the street and all of a sudden this close from an accident. It's like he was preventing something from happening to you, or different things. So that's That's a gift right there.
That's right. That's
huge
huge.
right there. I'd
Yeah.
rather take that than a Mercedes.
Right.
So.
Yeah, what price can you put on your safety?
You can
On your life.
On your life,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So and it says the parable of one who spends their substance in the way of God is that of a grain of corn. So, and that's small. So just, you can do small things that can multiply.
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes you feel like you have to do something big all the time, and then sometimes you have to. I have to remind myself, little things mean a lot. It doesn't have to be always something grandiose. So it could be, just something small. And sometimes you forget those little things have big impacts on people.
Yeah, I think it's a hadith of the Prophet also said, may Allah's peace be on him, said that a smile is charity. So just smiling at a person sometimes and brightens up their world, because you smiled at them, because most people have been walking past them and not smiling, and because maybe they're not smiling, but because they're in whatever space they're in, but you smile at them and in a caring way, and it just makes all the difference for them for that day.
Yeah, I remember hearing somewhere it was some show. It was an elderly person, and they were talking about how when they became, elderly, she was somewhere like I can't remember if it was a male or female, but they were like in their 80s or somewhere, and they said they just, sometimes they would be out in stores and they, people didn't really look at them. It's like they felt invisible. So it's like, then I would consciously, when I would be in stores, to smile at, an elderly person to let them know, hey, I see you, I'm acknowledging and smile, and so that just reminded me of, to just little things like
Little
that.
things, yeah.
Okay. Next one is chapter 2, verse 64, which reads, O ye who believe, cancel not your charity by reminders of your generosity, or by injury, like those who spend their substance to be seen of men, but believe neither in God nor in the last day. They are in parable, like a hard, barren rock, on which is a little soil. On it falls heavy rain, which leaves it just a bare stone. They will be able to do nothing with aught they have earned, and God guideth not those who reject faith.
What I get for that is, it's like you give someone something, and then maybe you want to them to do something for you, and then and they say no because of whatever their reasons are, and you remind them, that when you wanted such and such, and I was there for you, and I gave you this, and 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 it's like. Yeah, but that was been coming from your heart, and it was charity or something. And sometimes we give because we just want people to see us. Sometimes especially like in a community situation or something, people be given big sums of money and so forth, and it's just to be seen, and they really don't. It's not coming from their heart, it's just because they want people to know that they have this or whatever their reasons are. And then when it says about a barren rock with a little soil, it's like what we were just reading, you give and it's not coming from your heart. And Allah knows that, you're not going to get a manifold increase, because it wasn't coming from a good place, and so Allah's not going to bless you with more. It may appear sometimes because of what people are doing that they keep getting, money, but it's not sometimes benefiting them. So, you see some of these sometimes celebrities. We have one right now. We don't know what he did or didn't do, but he's got to spend a lot of money right now. And that happens to people sometimes. That they are blessed with a lot of money. But then they have to spend it to clear their name or to to whatever, so we just have to be sure that that when we're doing whatever we're doing it with a good heart and good intentions, and that we will get blessed, and that when we do give, it's not a what do you call it?
Strings attached.
Two strings attached. There's no strings attached when you give. You know, you don't have to do anything. If I ask you and you say no, I just say, oh, you'll know the next time. Right.
I don't think that's right.
I know. I just had to put that in there.
When I read this, it reminds me to check myself because many times you can do things with good intentions, with with the right intentions, but because of something else or some other need or some other issue, that you follow it up with a reminder. Now, this is something I've been aware of since I was a little girl, so I'm very careful not to remind people of my, gifts or efforts. But I'm still thinking about it sometimes. I've still struggled sometimes with, really? Okay. Really? Okay. And so it's really good to, this is a good reminder that the part that I got already is, okay, you don't follow up your charity or your good deeds with reminders or injury, but the part that this helps me to reflect on is that it's given, the similitude here is that it's as if someone with no belief in God and have no intentions, no belief in the last day and the day of judgment, what they're doing, if they're spending and they're doing things just to be seen, so it reminds me that it just reminds me of how bad it is. And so it encourages me to work on keeping my intentions and pray about keeping my intentions pure throughout the whole thing, because it's not a struggle for me to not remind or not point out or not tell other people about my, I really try and practice, whatever I do in private because of knowing this, and understanding that. But so it's still in my head sometimes when I feel like someone is not appreciating me. I have to remind myself, well, who did you do it for? Okay, if you did it for Allah, then it doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't have anything to do. And maybe that's just a test. Maybe their ingratitude or whatever, or their attitude at that moment might be just a test for me to check my own intentions and make sure that I'm coming from the right place with that. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, this is a verse that I also use for self-check, because the ego can be something else.
It can.
It feels good to hear people say nice things about
it. It does, yeah.
So it helps. So remembering this helps you check yourself. I'm not just wanting to be
yeah,
praised,
absolutely.
So yeah. And the line where it reads, they are in a parable like a hard, barren rock on which a little soil on it falls heavy rain, which leaves it just a bare stone. It's like saying that, when you picture a soil on a stone, there's no grounding. It can't grow, and then the water falls and washes it off. So it grows nothing.
Right.
So it's like, you produce nothing. You think you've given all this charity, but really, your injury by following up people with your reminder, it just wiped away the growth that you potentially could have got. So that's just interesting.
The other thing that I think about with that in terms of the injury, what the injury can look like is to tell somebody else about someone else's struggle. I remember one time I was helping someone else out, and I did it with good intentions, but I repeated what I did to someone else, not even to like get props or praise, but just speaking on it, talking about something else, but that came up, and realizing that later that person was probably offended because I kind of exposed their struggle. You know what I mean? So even though I wasn't intentionally telling someone about their struggle, when I'm telling my, I don't even remember, this is so many years ago, but when I'm telling about whatever was going on, I say, oh yeah, maybe I said, I went to visit so-and-so, and I did this and that and the other. And so So yeah, that was essentially that was essentially how it made me realize that that's what injury can look like. Like I'm exposing her stuff to other people, and I never even thought that. Oh, she may not want people to know that. I'm thinking I'm talking about me, but I'm really sharing her information. So that could be injury.
Yeah. Yes, nobody likes their laundry out when they.
No.
Nobody wants it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that could be messy. Okay, let's squeeze in one more.
Okay.
Chapter 13, verse 17. He sends down water from the skies, and the channels flow, each according to its measure. But the torrent bears away to foam that mounts up to the surface. Even so, from that ore, which they heat in the fire to make ornaments or utensils therewith, there is a scum likewise. Thus doth God by parables showed forth truth and vanity. For the scum disappears like forth cast out, while that which is for the good of mankind remains on the earth. Thus doth God set forth parables. So I will start. It just reminds us that it's shows how God, he separates, truth from falsehood, good from bad, and but when you go through hardships, it purifies the scum out of you. It purifies the scum out of you, so you can see who you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I see.
When I read it, and be honest with you, I get confused because there's a lot in this one ayat, and there's so much, and so this is one that I think that I'll have to reflect on and continue to reflect on. But I do see that the pressure and the simile. Even so, from that ore which they heat in the fire to make ornaments or utensils therewith, there is a scum likewise. So when I read that, on the surface, what I'm reading is that there is value, and then there's things that you don't want. It's the byproduct. And so if you consider when I think about it, like I said, it's really complicated to me actually. But when you think about who we are and what we are, that and then everything in creation, that we engage in, there's some benefit in it, and there could be some harm in it, or there could be something that's not good in it. So essentially, that's what I get on the surface, because like I said, it's a complicated one for me.
Okay, Sister Zarinah, quickly.
It was for me. I had to read it a few times, and then I kind of, what I came up with was something of what you were saying in terms of, as human beings, we have to sometimes work through things, and sometimes, we feel like we're in a fire, or under so much pressure. But when we come out, as they say, if it doesn't kill you, it'll just make you better.
Right.
So what Allah takes us through a lot of times is to purify us and to help us to be better. And like you were saying in terms of, the heating the ore in the fire, it removes, it's good and it's bad. So the good comes out, and then the bad is taken away.
Right.
And that, our understanding is that in the end, there's nothing but good that will be on earth or wherever Allah decides to put us.
Yeah, and fire purifies.
Fire purifies.
Fire purifies.
Yes.
Interesting.
Okay, so like when they're heating up gold, it's like this rocky substance, and then it purifies, it burns away all the crusty stuff that's around gold, and then you get the gold.
Right.
So,
Okay.
So there you go. So we are running out of time. So thanks again for tuning in to Islamic Learning with Masjid As-Sabur. Again, we're located at 4926 15th Avenue on off of Stockton Boulevard here in Sacramento. Our website, www.masjidassabur.org. Friday prayer services are every Friday at 1:30 p.m. So everyone is welcome to come in and listen and learn and meet some friendly faces. So thanks for tuning in again, and assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
I want to remind everyone, Masjid As-Sabur, 4926 15th Avenue. Our new masjid is gorgeous. We just finished planting over 100 plants in front of the masjid. We just got through cleaning up the kitchen and getting ready to clean up all of the wudu stations. And we want you to come and join us. Every Friday, 1:30 p.m., Masjid As-Sabur, Sacramento. We are also on the web, www.masjidassabur.org. And we're on Facebook, so please like us. Again, we thank you for your patience and your time. We want to remind you that God truly has a message for you. And we want to remind you that we are here to give you any help that you may need. As God has taught us, He is a merciful God. As long as you come to Him and ask forgiveness, He will forgive you. So no matter where you are in life, there is a hope for change.